Latitudes and longitudes. What are imaginary horizontal lines drawn parallel to the equator called latitudes? What are imaginary vertical lines running from pole to pole called longitudes? What is the latitude of the equator? 0 degrees. What is the maximum latitude in each hemisphere? 90 degrees. What is the latitude of the North Pole? 90 degrees north. What is the latitude of the South Pole? 90 degrees south. What is the reference line for measuring latitude? The equator. What is the reference line for measuring longitude? The prime meridian. Where does the prime meridian pass through? Greenwich, London. What is the longitude of the prime meridian? 0 degrees. How many degrees of longitude are there in total around the Earth? 360 degrees. How many degrees of latitude are there from North Pole to South Pole? 180 degrees. What is the total number of important latitudes including poles? 7. Name the important latitudes. Equator, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, Arctic Circle, Antarctic Circle. What is the latitude of the Tropic of Cancer? 23.5 degrees north. What is the latitude of the Tropic of Capricorn? 23.5 degrees south. What is the latitude of the Arctic Circle? 66.5 degrees north. What is the latitude of the Antarctic Circle? 66.5 degrees south. Which latitude divides the Earth into northern and southern hemispheres? The equator. Which longitude divides the Earth into eastern and western hemispheres? The prime meridian. What is the longitude opposite to the prime meridian? 180 degrees longitude. What is the 180 degrees longitude also called? The international dateline. What is the shape of the Earth that makes latitudes unequal in length? Oblate spheroid. How many main circles of latitude are there on the globe excluding poles? 5. Which zone lies between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn? Torrid zone. Which zones lie between tropics and circles? Temperate zones. Which zones lie beyond the Arctic and Antarctic circles? Frigid zones. Which latitude receives the sun's rays directly on 21st March and 23rd September? Equator. Which latitude receives the vertical sun rays on 21st June? Tropic of Cancer. Which latitude receives the vertical sun rays on 22nd December? Tropic of Capricorn. What is the angular distance of a place north or south of the equator called? Latitude. What is the angular distance of a place east or west of Greenwich called? Longitude. What instrument is used to measure latitude on a ship? Sextant. What instrument is used to measure longitude? Chronometer. What is the total difference in time between 0 degrees and 180 degrees longitude? 12 hours. How much time difference is there between every 15 degrees longitude? 1 hour. How much time difference does 1 degree longitude represent? 4 minutes. If a place is 30 degrees east of Greenwich, what will be its local time difference? 2 hours ahead of GMT. If a place is 45 degrees west of Greenwich, what will be its local time difference? 3 hours behind GMT. How many standard time zones does the Earth have? 24. Which meridian is used as a standard meridian for India? 82.5 degrees east. What is India's standard time difference from GMT? That's 5.5 hours. What is the time at 90 degrees east when it is noon at Greenwich? 6 p.m. What is the time difference at 90 degrees west when it is noon at Greenwich? 6 a.m. Why do countries adopt standard time to avoid confusion due to local time differences? How many degrees of longitude make up one complete rotation of the Earth? 360 degrees. How long does the Earth take to rotate 360 degrees? 24 hours. How long does the Earth take to rotate 15 degrees? 1 hour. How long does the Earth take to rotate 1 degree? 4 minutes. How long does the Earth take to rotate 0.25 degree? 1 minute. What is the local time at 15 degrees east when GMT is 12 noon? 1 p.m. What is the local time at 30 degrees west when GMT is 12 noon? 10 a.m. What happens to time when you move eastward from Greenwich? Time increases. What happens to time when you move westward from Greenwich? Time decreases. What is the difference between 0 degrees and 180 degrees longitude? 12 hours. When crossing the international date line eastward, what happens? 1 day is subtracted. When crossing the international date line westward, what happens? 1 day is added. Why is the international date line not straight? To avoid dividing land and islands into different dates. In which ocean does the international date line mostly pass? Pacific Ocean. What is the approximate location of the international date line? 180 degrees longitude. How many meridians are there on the Earth? 360. What is the value of longitude at the North Pole? Undefined. What is the value of latitude at the equator? 0 degrees. What is the difference in time between 75 degrees east and 90 degrees east? 1 hour. What is the difference in time between 60 degrees east and 30 degrees east? 2 hours. What is the time at 105 degrees east when it is 12 noon at 90 degrees east? 1 p.m. What is the time at 60 degrees west when it is 12 noon at 30 degrees west? 10 a.m. Which country's standard meridian passes through Greenwich? United Kingdom. Which city lies almost on the prime meridian? London. What is the longitude of New Delhi? 77 degrees east. What is the longitude of Kolkata? 88 degrees east. What is the longitude of Mumbai? 73 degrees east. What is the longitude of Chennai? 80 degrees east. What is the longitude of India's standard time meridian? 82.5 degrees east. What is the local time difference between Mumbai 73 degrees east and Kolkata 88 degrees east? 1 hour. Kolkata ahead. What is the difference in longitude between IST 82.5 degrees east and GMT 0 degrees 82.5 degrees? What is the time difference between IST and GMT? 5 hours 30 minutes. Why does the sun rise earlier in Arunachal Pradesh than in Gujarat? Because it lies further east. How many time zones does Russia have? 11. How many time zones does the USA have mainland? 4. Which longitude generally separates one calendar day from another? 180 degrees longitude ideal. What is the local time at 45 degrees east if it is 12 noon at Greenwich? 3 p.m. What is the local time at 45 degrees west if it is 12 noon at Greenwich? 9 a.m. What is the local time at 150 degrees east when it is 12 noon at 12:20 degrees east? 2 p.m. What is the local time at 150 degrees west when it is 12 noon at 120 degrees west? 10 a.m. What is the difference between local time and standard time? Local time varies by longitude. Standard time is fixed for the region. How many degrees wide is each time zone? 15 degrees. What is the local time difference between 75 degrees east and 105 degrees east? 2 hours. What is the purpose of the Greenwich Observatory? It marks 0 degrees longitude and the prime meridian. Who established the formal system of latitude and longitude for world map? Eratosthenes. Which latitude passes almost through the center of India? Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degrees north. So how many Indian states does the Tropic of Cancer pass? 8. Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Tripura, Mizoram. Which is the longest parallel of latitude? The equator. Why are longitudes not parallel to each other? They converge at the poles. Why are latitudes parallel to each other? They are equidistant circles around the Earth. Which hemisphere is India located in? Northern and Eastern hemispheres. What are the coordinates of the intersection of equator and prime meridian? 0 degrees latitude, 0 degrees longitude. What is the longitude range of the Eastern hemisphere? 0 degrees to 180 degrees east. What is the longitude range of the Western hemisphere? 0 degrees to 180 degrees west. Please like, share, subscribe and click on bell icon.